The year is 1999. Y2K is steadily approaching. The Furby became the hottest fad since sliced bread. Google was finally born, and fan favorite character Bill Clinton finally caught up to those allegations.
I did not have relations with a woman.
But aside from all this wayside stuff, it means nothing when they're compared to what really happened that year. In 1998, a hero was born, and his name is Micah James McGonigal. Now, if you were to look at this man without any further context, you might not think that much of him, but be not mistaken, dear viewer, because this man is the GOAT. This dude is a fellow God-fearing man, likes memes, has an esoteric sense of humor, and most importantly, is a game developer. Either way, on March 17th, 2018, Micah would start work on a game that he had thought about for years beforehand to enter into that year's metagame jam. And although he might have thought at the time that this would have just been a quick little game to test his game dev skills, it would end up exploding and becoming his greatest success.
Welcome to the Baldi's Basics Iceberg Explain!
Placeface. Placeface is a secret character that is normally disabled in-game, but he was used in the early development of Classic. He can also be found in a hidden area in Birthday Bash and the camping demo. Baldi dabbing. Prior to Plus version 0.3, the original Place the Holder ending to Plus was you and Baldi in a completely blacked out room. Once you turn around, there's a message that reads, "Someday, you'll get the satisfying, canonical, and exciting ending that you deserve. Today is not that day." Secret chalkboard. In Classic, outside of the west exit, there's an out-of-bounds chalkboard that reads, "This program is a cancer," with a bunch of 99s surrounding the text. Kickstarter exclusive demo. Before the full game public demo release of what would become Classic, there was the Kickstarter exclusive demo. This demo was only accessible to those who paid $30 or more to the Kickstarter. I sadly didn't back the Kickstarter, so I can't play it for myself, but from what I've seen, the KED includes new stuff at the time, like randomly generated levels, the mystery room event, some new structures, the farm field trip, new characters, and new items. Secret codes. In Classic and Classic Remastered, there are some secret codes that can be used in the You Can Think pad. For Classic, these codes are 31718 and 53045-009. For Classic Remastered, these codes are 10/18/1996, 04/28/1989, 11/21/1994, and 09/24/1993. Yellow door lock. I'm not really sure why this is a point on the iceberg, but the yellow door lock had its name changed to swinging door lock for Plus. Old Gotta Sweep design. In older versions of Classic, Gotta Sweep's design was noticeably different, with white bristles and a more blurrier exterior than that of his final design. The reason for this change was because Gotta Sweep's design was a photo of a Liebman precision angle broom, and Micah changed it because he didn't want to get into any trouble with copyright. Old field trips. Obviously one of the first field trips we got was camping in the camping demo, but in terms of plus, the camping and farm field trips have gotten major revamps over time. Both of them used to be fully free roam, until getting changed to be more reaction based with the use of your mouse. But the final revamp of the camping field trip has implemented the best of both worlds into one. Plus's early access trailer. When it comes to the first trailer for Plus, there's bound to be stuff that was changed before the first release. Some notable changes include the test's early design, the weird Baldi texture walls, multicolored lighting, and red lighting. Fan-made songs. With a game franchise that gets big, it's only a matter of time before people start making songs about it. Some notable Baldi songs include, but are not limited to, Baldi's Basics the Musical, Basics in Behavior, Every Door, The Aftermath, Schoolhouse Trouble, Teach You How to Die, That's What I Do, and so many more. Rare death screens. In Classic and Classic Remastered, there is a rare death screen that can pop up when Baldi catches you. In Classic, the random death screen is this, while in Classic Remastered, it's a bit more detailed. Alternate subjects. In the original plan for Classic, there were going to be other subjects aside from math, but these other subjects were cut for two primary reasons: time constraints and language barriers. The subjects that got cut were science, spelling, geology, English, history, and geography. Sonic's Schoolhouse inspiration. Looking at Baldi's Basics and Sonic's Schoolhouse side by side, you can tell that there was a lot of inspiration that is shared between the two, such as the low quality graphics, multiple instances of the main character that exist, numbered balloons, and some edutainment elements. 2-week development time. The title here is rather self-explanatory. Version 1.0 of Classic took only 2 weeks to create. That time lasted from March 17th to March 31st, 2018. Baldi's basement. So in Classic Remastered, we found out that Baldi has a basement, and it's rather interesting. Some stuff that can be found down there are 2 comics on the walls, a small library-ish area, a boarded up ceiling tile, a waterway, a lever room, an alphabet room, and a shrink machine room. The metagame jam. As I alluded to in the intro, Baldi's Basics was originally made for the 2018 metagame jam, where the main goal was to create a meta-type game in 2 weeks. As we'd all know, the game that was made for that game jam was but a mere fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the game that Micah had in mind. 99. Easily one of the most reoccurring numbers and or symbols in Baldi's Basics is 99. There are several instances of 99 that are represented in-game, whether that be obvious or a bit more subtle or hard to find. Mods. Ever since Baldi's Basics has gotten big, the modding scene has been very vast and active. There are some mods that are on this iceberg that I'd rather pack into one entry rather than discussing them individually. The mods on this floor, for example, are The Jetsons, every form of YouTube horror after 2020, hyper-realistic Baldi isn't real, he can't hurt you, 728 an hour, and Brain Rot Simulator. Old Artsy poster. From version 1.0 to 1.1 of Classic, Artsy's old poster description read, "Truly an incredible sock puppet. I've never seen one like it." This was changed to the description we have now because it didn't give any kind of hint as to how Artsy's mechanic worked. Zeroth Prize. Zeroth Prize is a secret character in Birthday Bash, being located in the Glitch School. One interesting fact is that Zeroth Prize was the early design for Gotta Sweep, but Micah ended up scrapping it. Tess Dithered. Another secret character in Birthday Bash in the Glitch School. Tess Dithered was just an early version of a character that would later become the Test in Plus. Placeholder textures in Plus. Since Plus is in early access, it's only inevitable that some textures are placeholders and are intended to be replaced later on. For example, from 0.1 to 0.2 of Plus, Gotta Sweep Supply Closet had placeholder textures on the interior and exterior, as well as in 0.3.5, the broken window texture was a placeholder Missman texture, which was fixed in the next update.
Elephant Hit.
Elephant Hit was a voice line that was probably used for testing purposes during Classic's early development. Kickstarter posters in Plus. If you donated $500 to the Kickstarter, then you'd be able to submit a photo which could appear as a poster in-game. As of now, these include Pickles, Project 4, This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things, Learn, Simple Games, Baldi Plus, Goofy Odd Doggo, and one of Baldi's victims.
Can the parrot sound like me?
This is an audio clip that was added in Birthday Bash, but went unused. It was also referenced on the conspiracy board. Pilot Red Sun inspiration. Pilot Red Sun was a YouTube animator that was known for his abstract and strange animation style. It's pretty obvious to see how Micah might have gotten inspiration for his aforementioned esoteric sense of humor from.
Run.
While Baldi is eating his apple, there's a very rare chance that instead of Baldi saying, "yum," he would instead say, "run." The Baltimore comics. These are comics that Micah made when he was younger. As of now, there are some characters that have only officially showed up in the comics, such as Tim Tom, Susan, Andrew, and several unnamed characters. Of course, the only character to make it into Plus is Dr. Reflex, but that could change in the future. Restart, refresh. This is the slogan that's used on the B Soda and Diet B Soda can. Teleportation teleporter. In Birthday Bash, the teleporter item was called the teleportation teleporter, but in Plus, the name was changed to dangerous teleporter. If you ask me, teleportation teleporter sounds better and more wackier than dangerous teleporter. Pre-Kickstarter demo. What I'm assuming this entry is referring to is potentially some kind of demo for the full game before the Kickstarter exclusive demo, but I can't really find any info on this other than videos about the Kickstarter exclusive demo.
Welcome to Joe's Ultimate Bus Ride!
This is referring to a pinball game that Micah made before Baldi. From what I could tell, Micah created a pinball game before this in 2012, simply called Joe, but footage of Joe's Ultimate Bus Ride first released in 2014, with the gameplay teaser stating that it would be releasing eventually. And apparently Micah will still release this game one of these days, but it'll likely be released after Plus is finished. First prize is text-to-speech. Some more common knowledge is that First Prize is voiced by a text-to-speech bot called Dr. Spatzo. which was released by Creative Labs in 1991. One thing that I didn't know before making this video was that 𝓡𝓔𝓓 is an anagram for Sound Blaster Acting Intelligent Text-to-Speech Operator. Baby Baldi. This was an April Fool's tweet that was made on April 1st, 2020 on the Basically Games Twitter account. Howdy. This is a small secret message found on the bottom of the red clipboard in the options menu. It's normally hidden off screen, but can be found in the full texture. 𝓡𝓔𝓜𝓐𝓢𝓣𝓔𝓡. 𝓡𝓔𝓜𝓐𝓢𝓣𝓔 is a mysterious character that normally appears in the anti-piracy screen in the Kickstarter exclusive demo, as well as the error screen and placeholder ending in Plus. We also found out a little bit ago that 𝓡𝓔𝓜 is not his real name, and that his appearance has changed since we last saw him.
Hey now, look at my new face! Why the f did you do?
Secret modes. The only secret mode that I'm aware of as of now is
Cognitive hazard removed. Automated message. Neutralized.
Some of the demos are semi-lost. I'm not really sure as to what this entry means, but if I had to guess, maybe it had to do with some elements that were present in the full game demos that either aren't in Plus as of now, or have been seemingly scrapped. Valentine cards. For Valentine's Day 2020, Basically Games made 4 Baldi-themed Valentine cards. These 4 are as followed: You plus me equals love, Let's play forever, Give me your heart, and no breaking up with me in the halls. Also referred to as mech_slingshot, this is the sound effect that is used for when you reach the first exit in Classic and Birthday Bash. An updated version of the sound was used for Classic Remastered. In Johnny's store, on very rare occasions, there's an audio clip that can play in. Anyway, not much is known about this mysterious voice line, or even who is making the audio in the first place. On the topic of it being very rare, it has a 0.0025% chance to play every frame. So theoretically, this would mean that the higher your frame rate, the more likely you are to encounter it. Classic 1.0 and 1.1. These were the first 2 versions of Classic to be released. That part's obvious. But both of these versions can be hard to find if you don't know where to look, so I'll leave a link in the description to an archive of each version of Classic. Expelling. Expelling is an, as of now, unused mechanic in Plus. As the name suggests, it will be used to expel a character for the rest of your game. It'll very likely be added later on in Plus's development, once there are enough characters to justify the gavel's existence. Spook balloons, now known as Baldloons. These are glitch Baldis that are, once again, found in the glitch school of Birthday Bash, and Party Style in Classic Remastered. Pencil Boy, probably one of the most well-known cut characters from Baldi's Basics. Pencil Boy was originally going to appear in Classic, but it ended up getting scrapped. This is also where the unused principal voice line of
"No stabbing people with pencils in the halls"
was going to be used for. Hidden stamina bar message. In the secret ending of Classic, the HUD is normally off, but if you open a decompiled version of Classic, fly out of bounds, and look at the HUD, you'll find a secret message that is a thank you message. That message reads as follows: This game is so horribly assembled, I am so ready to start working on the full game, and that wouldn't be possible without the tremendous support from you guys. So thank you a million times. Placeholder rooms. There's at least one placeholder room that can be encountered in Plus. The room has placeholder textures on the walls, ceiling, and floor, and the door leading to it, although it is extremely rare to come across in-game. Ball_spelling. As I alluded to earlier, the cut subject that got the most work done was spelling, with this voice line being recorded, but going unused.
I hope you like bees, because it's time for spelling. Answer the 3 questions correctly, and you might get something special.
WarioWare DIY microgames. Before Baldi's Basics was made, Micah started making some microgames in WarioWare DIY. Tim Tom. Tim Tom is a character that is also, as of now, exclusive to the Baltimore comics. He also appears in one of Micah's microgames, where he pilots a big mech and throws baseballs. Upcoming field trips. There are at least 2 field trips that are upcoming to Plus, those being Wild West and Wastewater. The farm field trip will also return in the future. Disky 0 to the 4th, yet another secret character that can be found in Birthday Bash, which does bear a slight resemblance to that of Bad Sum's now outdated design. Tape recordings. In Classic 1.0 only, the tape recorder would randomly play one of 5 recordings of someone telling you about one of the characters. Each of these tapes are fairly long, so I'm not going to play any of them, but you can easily find them on the Baldi wiki. First prize difficulties. Since First Prize was one of the first characters to have different sprites being shown depending on the angle you're viewing him at, there were likely some difficulties involving not just the angles, but also his voice lines, and probably hugging mechanics as well. 2016 Baldi voice line. This is referring to a voice line that Micah made for a much earlier version of Baldi's Basics, made on the 3DS, using Smile Basic. Here's the audio.
I'm testing this again because it crashed, and now I will do my Baldi. Welcome to Baldi's Basics and Understanding and Learning. No wait. Welcome to Baldi's Basics and Education and Learning. You'll have lots of fun here. I just know it. Make sure you get good grades. Otherwise, well, let's just say...
Unused dithering tests. I'm pretty sure this is referring to a series of images that were used to test a CRT filter in the full game demo, but it ended up going unused. The images include a Commodore 64 screenshot, a color calibration screen, a contrast calibration screen, some cherry blossoms, some leaves, coffee beans, and
cognitive hazard removed. Automated message. Unauthorized.
Gotta reap. In the first iteration of the farm field trip, if you take too long trying to get through the corn maze, then a big gotta sweep will mow down the entire maze. Baldi's tips and tricks and lessons. This is a short manual of sorts in a text document in the game's PC download folder. It's essentially meant as a short introduction to the characters and a few mechanics of the game. Purple pants. In the final promo image of the camping demo for the Kickstarter, you can see that Baldi's pants are purple instead of blue, likely as a byproduct of dithering. Spy camera. This is an item that was only referenced in the game's code, but has since been removed and likely scrapped. Baldi's Mazix. So as far as I'm aware, this is a mod for the game Zardy's Maze, which replaces Zardy with Baldi. Bladder. Bladder is a secret character in Classic Remastered, who's meant to be a light jab at Baldi ripoffs and bootlegs. Principal's bow tie. If you didn't know this before, the principal is actually wearing a yellow bow tie. It is kind of strange that his bow tie is roughly the same color as his skin tone, but that might be a byproduct of the dithering process. Family Guy death pose Easter egg. In Classic Remastered, once you meet Baldi in his shrink machine in the basement, and you use no-clip to move around to the library area, you'll see a chalk outline of Baldi in the Family Guy death pose. Revenge of the Crazy Baby. This is a game that Micah made on his 3DS while he was using Smile Basic. Big globes. In Classic 1.0, instead of tables in the principal's office, there were big globes. These would actually be a big advantage to the player because you're able to hide from Baldi using them. Light map. What I'm assuming is that the light map is used for generating lighting in the schoolhouse, or other parts of the game that are 3D. The principal is Micah. This one's rather self-explanatory, but the principal's sprite is of Micah. Will we ever get the original unedited photo of Micah in the Principos? Only time will tell. Pirated Kickstarter exclusive demo. So what do you think happens if you pirate the Kickstarter exclusive demo? Surprisingly, the game does not give you an anti-piracy screen right away, but instead you can play the game, with some noticeable differences of course. For example, Baldi's speed is maxed out when you collect 2 notebooks, there are seemingly 2 principals that roam the school, and the game seems to crash more often. Oh no. Similar to 99, the phrase, oh no, has been a fairly reoccurring element of Baldi's Basics. Beta 𝓡𝓔𝓚's design. In the full game demo, 𝓡𝓔𝓚 appears in his early design. What is interesting is the name text that appears in the top left-hand corner, suggesting that 𝓡𝓔𝓚's might have not had a name during this time of development. Johnny's parents. Johnny's parents are only referred to once in a passing comment by Johnny. Something interesting is that after Johnny says,
"Thank you, my parents would have been so proud that I made a sale," he
frowns, which could hint at something dark about Johnny's life that may or may not be revealed in the future. Micah's unlisted videos. On Micah's personal channel, he has several publicly known unlisted videos. 𝓡𝓔𝓚𝓐𝓢𝓣𝓔𝓡𝓔. Surprisingly, 𝓡𝓔𝓚𝓐𝓢𝓣𝓔𝓡 was the original name for 𝓡𝓔𝓚𝓚copter. You will never leave. Yet again, something that first appeared in Birthday Bash, but has since reappeared in Plus. Of course, the text in red says, you will never leave, but it's much more funny to look at the green text that says, when the don't those. One PR bang does exist in Birthday Bash and can be coded back into the game, although it is rather buggy. 99 tree. In the camping demo, there's a rare chance that a tree could spawn with the 99 carved into it. Hidden areas hoax. I know that there are official hidden areas in the game, but I don't think I've ever heard of a hoax regarding a hidden area before.
Come back when you're a little, richer.
This is a currently unused Johnny voice line, which will likely be used for when you try and buy something from his shop, but you don't have enough you thought points. Plunger. The plunger was an item that was officially leaked back in 2020 by Micah himself, and for years we didn't know when it would be added or what purpose it would serve. But recently, Micah created a video where he showed off the unused Wild West field trip that he worked on, and the plunger would have been used as an offensive weapon against Baldi, instead of a revolver like you would expect in a Western setting. Kirkland's Signature Protein Bar. This is the original product that was used for the texture of the Zesty Bar. What's interesting is that the reason for the wrapper appearing green is because the photo of the bar was taken in front of a green screen, causing the wrapper to reflect the green background. Baldi and Night of the Consumers. I've personally never played Night of the Consumers, but I've seen that on the backpack texture, there is a small Baldi plush. Principal's head getting stuck in the ceiling. For a little while, there's a glitch where if First Prize was pushing you while the principal's teleporting you to detention, there's a chance that the player could be teleported somewhere else, and or the principal could get his head stuck in the ceiling. Light Test Room. As the name would suggest, this was a room that was made for testing lighting in Plus. Vents. Vents were a structure that were found in the files of the full game public demo, but ended up going unused. Vents were meant to be an interactive structure, where only the player could traverse through them, and the other NPCs could not be able to enter them. Even though they were scrapped, they may end up returning in a future update for Plus. Original schoolhouse layout drawing. This is the original layout of the schoolhouse that Micah had in mind before it was finalized to the classic school layout that we all know. The areas marked in black are the hallways. The areas marked in blue are the classrooms, which might mean that there were originally 6 notebooks instead of 7. The area marked in yellow is the cafeteria. The areas marked in orange were the swinging doors. The area marked in red is the exit. The area marked in green was a playground area that was cut from Classic. And the area in pink was the principal's office. What good is a cipher if there is no contextual justification for its existence? Or more simply, the Baldi ARG. This event was something that I personally never saw coming, and I doubt many others did as well. If you were not there for it, just know that it was a wild time. Plenty of decipherings later, the end was reached. After that, we found out that it's now a part of the public domain. Unused MIDI files in Plus. In the files of older versions of Plus, there seems to be some MIDI files that go unused, but as some of the names of the MIDIs go, these might just be some test audios for something that might be added to Plus later on. Have a listen for yourself. Baldi in Strange Terror from the Deep. In the game, Strange Terror from the Deep, Baldi makes a special appearance. What's really cool is that Baldi is voiced by Micah himself, with the voice line that would be reused in Baldi's Basics.
Thanks for playing! Come back soon!
Gorilla in Farm Field Trip. In the code of Plus, the script that lists off the farm animals that can appear include a chicken, cow, pig, sheep, and gorilla. Normally, the first 3 animals would appear when playing hide and seek, but in endless mode, the sheep can show up. But of course, the gorilla went unused. Ah yes, the animals I first think of when I have a farm in mind. A chicken, a cow, a pig, a sheep, and monkey. Everyone gets detention. I quit. One of the chalkboards that appears in Classic and Plus has text on it that says, "Everyone gets detention, I quit." One interesting fact is that prior to 0.5 of Plus, the name of the asset itself was, "So long, jerk. I've had enough of your horrible management. I haven't seen my family in 3 days. I'm leaving." Jeffy and Davis. These are 2 characters that were made by Micah on Miiverse before Baldi's Basics. Baldi's first public appearance. Micah believed that Baldi's first public appearance on the internet was on his deleted Baldi Comic Twitter account. but he ended up finding a post on his Miiverse account that is Baldi's first real public appearance. 𝓡𝓔𝓜 almost used a playtime voice line. Micah confirmed at some point that 𝓡𝓔𝓜 was originally going to use Playtime's Let's Play voice line. Principal Easter egg in Yukons Basics. In the Baldi fan game, Yukons Basics, the principal can be found behind a poster, and he says a unique voice line.
No making a Baldi's Basics fan game in the halls.
Sounds taken from Poppy the Performer. I had never heard of Poppy the Performer before looking into this Iceberg, but from what I could tell, Poppy the Performer was a show that aired on Japan's Kids Station TV network from January 3rd, 2000 to December 28th, 2001. Let's look at the About section of the show a bit more. Each episode of the show is self-contained. The show frequently features violence, and typically one or more characters die per episode. Episodes featuring characters getting impaled, electrocuted, stabbed, cut in half, set on fire, exploded, etc. Let's just move on. Plus's earliest footage. Some of the earliest footage of Plus shows stuff like subtitle tests, the work-in-progress level generator, playtime, and more. Badly. Badly is a very saturated version of Baldi that was supposedly an accident. Right. Ancient photo. This is an old photo of Micah that was added to the files of Plus in 0.3.5. First prize prototype vinyl figure. So First Prize's vinyl figurine has an image that shows his earlier design, and it's interesting, to say the least. Baldi would open a pizza place. I saw that on Twitter. Micah seemingly replied to someone's tweet with, Baldi would open a pizza place, but since I deleted my Twitter account a long while ago, I can't see what he's replying to. So if you know what Micah's replying to, then please leave it in the comments. Gotta Sweep's cleanup story. In an email that someone sent to Micah that had some questions in it. One of them was, what is Gotta Sweep's greatest life achievement? And Micah responded to that question with, one day, after a food fight, Gotta Sweep cleaned the entire cafeteria floor in 3 minutes and 8 seconds. It was spotless. Joe Me/Joe's wife. This is a me of Joe that does very slightly resemble Placeface, but in terms of his wife, her name is Mimi. She owns an electronics store, and she's an inventor. Baldi on the Mistbook. At some point, Micah was able to get Plus to run on the Mistbook. Smile Basic Games. So a little while before Micah started making Baldi's Basics, he had made some games on a 3DS programming app called Smile Basic. On his Smile Basic account, he has 3 publicly available games, with potentially more that never got released. These games include Platformer, GSI Live the sequel, and Roguebots. The paper sprites are Baltimore comics. Looking at the paper sprites again, it kind of does look like there's a part of a comic strip on it. If you look at the sprite from a right angle, this part kind of resembles a stick figure, and probably some other obscure drawing over it. But even if this was a Baltimore comic, the dithering and small image size has rendered most of the details ineligible. Placeface is Joe. I guess this could make sense to an extent, with them having similar hairstyles and such. Birthday Bash is the last floor of the super schoolhouse. Personally, I'm not really sure why people think that this could be true. I mean, there are balloons on the final floor, but I see that more as a celebration for the player. I also have a feeling that this ending will be changed at some point in the future to something else that's a bit more eventful and satisfying. Challenge Demo Bug Report banner. So the full game public demo had a bug reporting devlog post where people could submit any major bugs that might have gone unsquished during the demo's development. But what this entry is referring to is that this post has a banner attached to it that is of a glitched out Baldi. The lunch food sprite is from Five Guys. This is referred to the fact that the lunch sprite was just a photo of some Five Guys food. Mech Bump. So as far as I'm aware, this is an alternate version of Mech Slingshot. Impossible Plus Seeds. Since levels in Plus are randomly generated, it would only be a matter of time before someone manages to stumble across a seed that would normally be impossible without the use of items like the teleportation teleporter. Playtime in the secret ending. In the secret ending of Classic, playtime does exist out of bounds, but she isn't normally active. My guess is that playtime exists here because if certain scripts aren't assigned in the player's script and/or the game controller script, then certain basic features won't work normally. Lost Baltimore Comics. As with anything that was created a long time ago, it'll either be preserved or lost to the sands of time. But aside from those kinds of wise words, since Micah created his Baltimore comics years and years ago, it was only inevitable that some of them would be lost, whether that be from being thrown away or just forgotten about. Baldi's Basics Petite Computer version. This is more so just a hypothetical version of Baldi's Basics, saying that if Baldi's Basics wasn't made in Unity or Smile Basic, then why not make it on the Petite Computer?
Let's go scuba diving!
This is a reference to one of Baldi's voice lines from Strange Terror from the Deep. Mrs. Pomp's classroom in Classic. I guess this is referring to a classroom in Classic that could belong to Mrs. Pomp, but I'm not really sure as to what classroom that would be. Disky is badsome. I mean, it's not out of the question that Disky could be badsome, especially because both of them have blue shirts, and only show up when the game starts acting weird. Cafeteria ambience origins. So not only did Micah state that the cafeteria ambience is old, but it was also recorded probably a long time before Baldi's Basics was made. Weird.